Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's been about 60 days and 300 hours since I started playing Warframe, and I figured, as still a new player, this would be a good time to do like a check-in and kind of go over what my thoughts have been so far since starting the game and where we're at now. If you're new to the content that we've been making around here, I'll give you a little bit of an oversight of what we've been doing. A couple months ago, I was talking to my, at the time, much smaller community, and we were going through a bunch of different games on Steam, trying to get some ideas of some things to play. At some point during that stream, I came across Warframe again, and I looked at the player count, and I was really surprised that it was hitting somewhere around 70k players on a random Tuesday evening. Now, Warframe is something that's been on my radar for a while. I've tried it a few times over the last handful of years. I download it, boot it up for a couple minutes, play a few missions, didn't really understand what was going on. I felt like there was just so much chaos, you know, looking at the star chart and all these different events and quests and things popping up on my screen, that I would just end up uninstalling the game and I wouldn't give it an honest effort, nor would I look up how to play it. I didn't care that much. And the thing is, I've always seen that the Warframe community was very passionate about their game, and I never understood why. My ignorant perspective, every time I would play the game, I didn't fucking understand what we were doing here. Everything, like I said, it looked like something out of a Black Mirror episode. You got looked like advertisements and all these different things. I mean, look at this thing behind you. Look at this thing behind you. You're being a new player and you come and you see this. I mean, yeah, you can read, but I don't know what the hell any of this stuff means. There are a lot of things about the game that I didn't really understand as a new player, so I never really gave it a chance. But when I was looking at it on that day on stream, I thought to myself, this might be a little interesting to do. This might be a little interesting to stream it for a week. I think I gave myself anywhere between 5 to 7 days to stream it just to see if I can get into it. But one thing that stood out about this game is its success. It's been going for a very long time. It's got its own convention, TennoCon, and all this stuff. So you would know this game has a lot of success, but it's not really in the public eye. You don't see this being top of the Twitch charts. You don't see this being blasted all over YouTube on your For You page and stuff. And I'm not saying those things constitutes whether a game is good or not. I'm just saying the exposure. It's not really in your face. You know, it's not like a Fortnite or a Warzone. And again, you know, don't come at me. I'm just using broad examples, okay? I don't even play those games. Somebody in my chat while we were looking at the game called Warframe silently successful, and that really stuck out to me. Now, I know I've said that in a video before, and I had a lot of people coming at me about that, but it's the truth. Like I said, it's not really out there in the public eye as much as these other games. It's not being blasted everywhere. The developers of this game trust in the product. They trust in the game that they build and they make, and the community trusts the developers. And you got this big, awesome thing going on here, and actually diving into it and seeing it firsthand has been pretty cool. The first thing that I want to talk about that I like about this is the game is genuinely fun. I'm not going to shill out over here. I'm not in any contact with any devs or anything like that. If anything, I've actually been subtly roasted by one of the community leads or one of the developer leads for my ability or lack of ability of pronouncing words, as you can see on screen. But it is true. The game is genuinely fun. The way that you move around with the parkour mechanics, the way the guns feel, the way that everything sounds, the numbers all flashing on the screen. You have this high of wanting to chase higher crit numbers. And then once you hit your first red crit, that like did something to my brain that drugs could never do. And then when I found out that you can do like stronger red crits, I'm sitting there going, how do I do more? This game is like a drug. Like you just want to keep, I want to do more. How do I do more? And I actually have like fun playing it. Like I was seeing threads and posts of people, you know, veterans and people have been playing this game for a long time, and what they want are like some of the missions to be cut down in time because they want to be able to do them faster. And I can't understand why, because I actually have fun. I want the survival missions to go on longer. I have fun sitting there, and people are going to call me a psychopath for that. I want to sit there for hours and just do endless waves. And even though I'm not strong enough for that, I get like the thrill out of nuking rooms to the best of my abilities. I know I'm not really at that point yet, but it's just a fun game. It's a fun shut your brain off at times game. You know, put on like some podcasts or something on in the background and then just start going to town on survival missions, defense missions. You know, especially if you're grinding something, you're cracking relics. Like, this game's got a really good rhythm to it. It takes a minute to get there because you got to understand how the systems work and the flow of the game. But once you get there and you start understanding, you're like, this is, I want more of this. I want keep it coming, dude. This game is fun. Fun is good. Another thing I really appreciate about this game, and I don't see too many people talking about, but I know that everyone's thinking it. It's the look and the art and like the art style of this game. It's a gorgeous game. I mean, look at this background. How fucking cool is that? I go out here publicly now in front of hundreds of people live, and I start saying things like, this looks pretty. My dad watches me. Whoever does the art design and like the overall style or whatever you want to call it, the art direction of this game is phenomenal. Like, the environments just look good. The skyboxes, I've caught myself stopping handfuls of times, and it's on stream too. I've stopped and like admire a skybox or admire the environmental storytelling of things that are off in the distance. Or, you know, I came across, I was doing some underwater mission in some, I can't remember what planet it was, but I looked, you know, when you went underwater, and I saw a tube. And in the tube, I thought it was a bunch of giant fish. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So I went up and I was looking through the glass, and it wasn't giant fish. They were fucking Grenier that were stuck in this tube, and they're all drowned, but they look like they're a bunch of fish just hanging out in this tube. And it wasn't something you can interact with. It was just like environmental storytelling. And little things like that, I feel like it's a lost art in modern games now. Now, I know Warframe's, you know, a game that's been going on for a long time, so it's not technically a new game. They're still doing that even with these new content updates. You know, there's a lot of environmental storytelling, and if you're somebody that stops and looks around, you might find things that people might not have noticed, or you might find pieces of lore, or, you know, admiring just the skybox. And it's really impressive when you think about it, because this game is fast. It's very fast paced. The developers aren't dumb. They know you're going to be trying to be moving through these rooms and these areas, these open world areas, as fast as possible, but they still take their time crafting these areas. It's like they know you're going to be zooming through, and like they could easily like just dumb things down because, you know, oh, they're just going to fly through this room in a half a second. They're not going to notice anything. But no, they stop and they'll actually handcraft these rooms or these skyboxes. Like I said, I keep saying the same things. It's not like a make or break thing for a game, but it's a very appreciated thing when you actually pay attention, or even if you're not paying attention, because it's helping the game feel alive and it feels like lived in. I haven't really done things like that in games since like Halo 3 or Halo 2. There was a mission in like Gears of War 2 or something where if you looked off, you know, when you're in the caverns underground, you looked off in the distance and you saw a bunch of the Horde guys running up a ramp, and it was like so far away. But if you had a sniper and you started shooting them at a distance and you started getting headshots, you actually start getting voice lines from Marcus. And it was like something, if you didn't like stop and pay attention and start looking around, you would have missed that. And I don't know if anything like that necessarily exists in the game, but the point is there's very few games now that I feel like they're taking time crafting this environmental storytelling, and I feel like it's like a lost art. It was something that we had a lot more back in the day, but now developers probably don't put as much time into those things to reduce time on development, you know, development costs, or it's just unnecessary assets to put into the game. I don't know what they're doing. The engine that this game runs on is like phenomenal. I don't know what engine it is. I don't know the story behind that, but like everything works. Everything looks good. Everything flows pretty well. Like this game's a masterpiece. I mean, seriously, it is a masterpiece. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm like giving myself a chub. Too much? Now, admittingly so, my attention span has been a lot more shot in these later years, so I'm not super compelled into these story games. I have a harder time trying to grasp the storytelling parts of the game. However, the one thing I really appreciate about what Warframe does is they do their storytelling in like bite sizes. I said this in my last video, but I think it's a really important point to bring up again, is everything is in like bite sizes. When they do their big story updates, it's in like 2 to 3 hour chunks. It's not, like a World of Warcraft where they release an expansion and you got to spend, 10 hours or so leveling from, the next 10 levels. And then there's all this story going on. You're skipping through a lot of it because you don't really care, because you're just racing to get to this max level thing. In Warframe, it's like they give it to you in a very digestible way. And let's not make fat jokes. I'm not saying digestible and bite sized because I'm fat. All right, I'm just saying it's the best way I can think about it. Well, of course you're thinking about it, fatty. But even when you go and click on some of the stories, it'll give you like a quick warning, and it'll be like, yeah, you might be in this for about 2 to 3 hours. It's cool. I think that's pretty sweet. I think it's really beneficial that the story is in smaller bits. It's not overwhelming, and it's easy to pick up on, and it's easy to get into. It's easy to go back and replay. I don't know. I think that's a really important thing. I think that's a thing that they did really well. Now, this part part's probably pretty obvious, but I gotta talk about it. The warframes and the weapons all feel so good. Now, it takes a while to get there when you're looking for specific warframes, or you're trying to figure out what you like, what play style you like, what weapons you like, what abilities you like, and stuff like that. But I genuinely feel like that this game will suit your play style the more time you put into it. You can find a warframe that suits your play style. You can find a weapon or multiple weapons that suit your play style. You can find the different mods to suit your play style. There's so much that you can do. There's so much depth and so much diversity that goes into the frames and the weapons, or just any of that. You can find and even fine tune things to your play style and actually be viable. That's another important thing too. All these frames and these weapons, for the most part, people might come at me with math and say, well, this is 0.2% better than this one, but everything in this game can be viable if you put enough time into it. Some things might take a little bit longer. I literally got a Twitch follow while I'm offline and recording a video. That's what that was. That's what's been happening. If you put the effort into your warframes and your weapons, you can make it viable into the end game. Now, I haven't touched the end game as much. I just recently got the steel path, and I realized that I am really underprepared for it. So I've been kind of retroactively going back and trying to find warframes and stuff like that, to suit my playstyle. Like Big Grendel over here, look at him stomping around, and he looks like he's not even a unlocked character yet. Now, the ironic thing is, when I first played this game a while back, one of the first few times, I did not like the way the warframes felt. I didn't like Excalibur. I didn't like Volt or whoever, Mag, I think it was. I didn't like the way they looked. I didn't like the way they felt. Actually giving it an honest effort now and looking through the different warframes, and just even like visually, I would see Corvex. I saw him and was like, dude, he looks badass. I want to go get him. I farmed for him. I got him, played him a bit, and realized his kit wasn't something for me. But then you go looking through the list and you find someone else. Like, you know what? I want to go try getting Atlas. I thought Atlas looked pretty cool. Same thing. His kit wasn't really for me, but his look was cool. Haro's a good example. I think Haro's the best looking frame in the game, but I'm not a fan of his kit. But then I come across big beefy boy Grendel over here, and he's probably one of the uglier looking frames, and he's a fat boy, but his kit is awesome. I love the way he plays. And I found a playstyle that I like, and now I'm trying to beef him up more. I don't know how we can get you any more beefier, but we're gonna do our best. I know we can. That journey, trying to find like the warframe you like or the weapons you like. I still haven't really found a weapon that I want to main, or like a set of weapons that I'm super keen on. Like there's a lot of them are good, but I haven't found that one that's itched my brain yet. And I know you look at the list there. I mean, it's of course you're gonna find it, and that's the fun part. Is you keep looking, you keep trying. There's a play style for everyone out there if you put the effort into looking for it, and the effort into looking for it is the fun part, in my opinion. Now, this point will be of no surprise to anyone if you're listening to this rant, because this is like an obvious point after everything I've said. But this game's got a lot of content. It's been around for about 13 years. I think they're about to do their 13-year anniversary or something like that here in a couple weeks. And this game has got a lot of fucking content. It's insane how much content is in here. And yeah, at times it could be overwhelming with how much stuff there is to do. But the beautiful thing about this game is you can set your own goals. Yeah, there's a loud part of the community that will tell you about, this is the optimal way, or this is what you should be doing. But realistically, if you tune out the noise, put your game into solo, and just play it at the pace that you want to play and experience the content how you want to experience it, it is insane. This game genuinely feels fresh with how much content there is, because every day I've logged in, there is always something to do. I won't lie that sometimes that there's so much content that it does become overwhelming and I don't even know where to start. I've had times where I've had an idea of where I'm logging in and I'm going, okay, this is what I'm going to be working on today. I'm going to be working on getting these parts or trying to get this blueprint for this frame. And then I start working to get the blueprints, and I'll get the blueprints and I go to craft the blueprints, but it's 4 different materials that I've never farmed before. I don't even have them sitting in my inventory just passively playing. So then I got to look into, well, how do I get these 4 different materials? And part of the materials that I need for that is I have to go and fish. And then I got to go to a planet that has a specific fish. And then I'll go to that planet to go and fish. And I'll realize I need a fishing rod. So I'll go and buy the fishing rod. And then I'll realize that I haven't been grinding any of my standing or my reputation for these factions that will allow me to buy the fishing rod. So then I got to go and start picking up bounties and start getting these faction rewards or these reputations or standing, whatever you guys call it, and then start ranking that up to get the fishing rod, and then realize I need to get baits to go and catch the specific fish. And then I got to go back and get more reputation to buy the bait, to go and fish the fish. I get the fish. I got to go and find the person to gut the fish and get the parts and then go back and then rinse and repeat, figure out what's the next materials I need. It sounds like a lot and it sounds like it could be a headache, and at times it can be a headache, but it just keeps it going. It doesn't get stale, where, oh, I just got to go and farm this and I already had these materials passively from playing a bunch of missions. I'm just going to throw everything in the oven and it'll be good in a couple days. No, sometimes you get thrown with a curveball and you go, well, what the hell is this? How do I get that? And then as you're doing that, the game is also kind of reminding you of these different systems that are there that you should have been working on, you haven't been working on, and that's fine because there's so much of it. So when you log in, you could spend a whole day saying, I want to start working on my standings and get my standing rank up, or I need to start working on these different materials that I'm going to need, or I need to go and work on trying to bang all these different characters from 1999, or the hot French girl, I want to bang her too, so I got to talk to her, and then I want to get this frame down the line, I got to go and unlock these missions, and I got to do there's just a lot, and it can get overwhelming, and some people might hear what I'm saying and they might go, well, fuck, that just sounds like a clusterfuck, and it is. That's the fun. It's a clusterfuck. If you have ADHD, this game is going to break you and entertain you. Because every day I log in, sometimes I will have an idea of what I'm going to do, and then I'll end the stream and I'll sit back and I'll go, I did not even remotely touch the first thing that I thought I was going to be doing today. The whole thing that I had planned all day from the moment I woke up to the moment I got into the game, just out the window as soon as I'll get on. I'm like, fuck, I forgot to do this other thing. And now it's like a Rick and Morty episode, where he's like, he opens the portal and he's like, 20 minutes in and out. And then like they've been there for weeks or something like that. I know I don't remember. It's been years, but there's a lot of content, a lot of different things to do. You will never be bored in this game. There'll be some days you'll be overwhelmed, or maybe you don't necessarily know what you want to do. But if you just pick a direction and go to it, you will find things to do. This game is like the people that have sunk 5,000 hours in this game still haven't done everything that there is to do. There's all the fashion, there's the plat grinding. We're gonna get into plat next. It's just so dense. There's so much to do. You'll never be bored in this game. You really won't be. And one of the last points I want to touch up on why I like this game is the platinum in the live service model. I've had a little bit more experience now with the plat system and the live service model, the monetization, all that, obviously, since I started playing the game. And my opinion still stands. I think this has one of the most ethical live service models that I have ever seen in any game ever. I mean that. I'm so serious. This is not, there's nobody in my pockets with this. I am so serious. This is one of the most ethical live service models I have ever seen. And the biggest reason for that is the platinum, which is the in-game currency that you use to buy cosmetics or other things, is earnable in-game. Now you hear that and you might think, well, what? I got to spend 100, 200 hours just to get something small? No, it's not like that. All you got to do is crack relics. Relics are essentially like a loot chest of some sort that are locked until you run a mission. And then once you run the specific mission to crack that relic, you will get items. This is where RNG, the gambling, kind of comes to play. But you will get some type of blueprint, which could be like a prime blueprint for like a frame or a weapon of some sort. And then you can take that and look on a third-party website called Warframe Markets. And from there, you can either hoard some items and wait for the prices to go up, or you can sell them on there, and then somebody will message you in game, DM you in game, and then you link up, you trade the item, he gives you the plat, you give him the item, and that's done. And I've never actually done anything on Path of Exile for trading, but I've watched a lot of streamers playing it, and it looks very similar to how Path of Exile handles their market. It's seriously, it's super easy. It might sound like a process, but it's very easy. I'm sure there's other ways. I've heard of the underground black market for fishing. Apparently you can make a lot of platinum from fishing in the game. It's not like you need 1,000 hours just to be able to afford $15 worth of cosmetics. No, you can do this pretty quickly. There is some discourse over the time gated, when it comes to building your Warframe or your weapons. You have to wait for them to craft, and it's a little bit more mobile game-ish. But I'm telling you, it's not something that you really notice when there's so much to do in this game. Putting weapons or warframes in the foundry or the oven, as I like to call it, and let it build over 12 hours, or the full warframes will take 2 to 3 days to build I think it's 3 days. It genuinely gives you some time to either take a break from the game, so when you come back, you got something new to play around with, or just start working on something else. That's what I do. I go and I'll start farming another frame or another weapon, and I at the point where I had to stop because I had so many frames building up and so many weapons building up that I wasn't actually using them. But I had so many things that were going, and it's like, okay, hold on. Okay, I gotta slow down because I'm way ahead of myself now. And I haven't even been like leveling these things, or I haven't even been, working on all these other weapons I've gotten, or trying to level them up. I try to max everything out or try to get a feel for everything, So I think it's super ethical. Not to mention, I think it's a proper trade-off. With how ethical the monetization of the game is, I personally don't mind having to wait, a day or a couple days to be able to use a Warframe or some weapons. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. There's some people who are impatient, and there is a feature where you can rush the things that have them completed instantly by spending the plat, and how easy it is to acquire the plat. It's not that big of a deal if you really think about it, because it's pretty easy to get the plat. So if you really want to have the stuff done instantly, you can farm as much plat as you want, and then when you go and put something in the foundry or the oven, you can have that thing done instantly. So I think it all works well, and I think it's a good trade-off. These companies, and I'm not trying to shill for some of these companies, because not all of them deserve it, but you got to understand there are operating costs, and if you want these developers and these game companies to survive and keep making a quality game like this and keep it alive, they have to have something. It can't be an entirely free game, and these guys are just like, working off basically donations. You know what I mean? This is not how it works in the world. So I don't know how they've managed to craft this like perfect community and this perfect like support system, and make a lot of money off the plat, but this is a free game. There's no monthly subscription. You're not buying expansions. But I think a part of that is why people don't have a problem even buying plat. It's kind of like Path of Exile. You see a lot of the people that play Path of Exile, and it's a free game and you get all this content, and they don't mind having to buy stash tabs or dropping a couple bucks here and there for some cosmetics. They don't mind because they feel like that they're getting all this for free. It's like reverse psychology. Like I've bought in plat a handful of times so far. They're always giving out coupons too. There was one they just did the other day. It was 100% off. It was like a buy one, get one free deal. So I spent fucking $50 on plat, and I got another $50 worth of plat. So I got $100 in value of plat for half the price. It was insane. They'll give you coupons, you go and buy plat. They keep making a quality product. People will go out there and buy the premium currency. But even though it's easy to obtain, but I think people feel so passionately about this game and about the developers that they don't mind going and dropping 25 bucks here and there, $5, $10, whatever it is. They don't mind because, it's like, you've given me hundreds of hours of fun. Here's $10. It's the least I can do, right? I want them to keep working on the game. So yeah, if my 25 bucks here and there is going to help go to that, then so be it, Now to wrap up this entire video essay, I think it's pretty safe to say that I am enjoying this game. 60 days in, 300 hours, started off not knowing barely anything about this game, and basically have had the Warframe community in my Twitch chat walk me through. I haven't really wikied anything or looked any YouTube videos up. It's just been me trying to figure it out, and chat conflicting with each other, trying to explain to me how things work, and it's been really fun. I've been having a hell of a time playing this game. It's genuinely killed my vibe to play other games. I feel like I found a home game that I can stay on this for years, and the content is endless, and there's the horizon is just so far. I have so much more to do. I have so many goals, so many ideas, and every day I play, some of those goals and ideas feel further away. Now, to some people, that might be a problem, but someone to me who's actually enjoying this game and wants to play as much of this game as possible, it makes me really excited, because it makes me know that I'm not going to get bored of this anytime soon. I'm somebody that doesn't do this. World of Warcraft is probably the only other game that I could sit and play for months on end and not really get bored of it. I am not bored of Warframe, and it's such it's like a masterpiece to me. It's weird. I never thought this would exist. I want to log into Warframe every day. I want to do my dailies. I want to do the weekly resets. I want to bang all the fucking people in the Holvania, whatever the hell it's called, the crew, whatever the hex. I want to fashion the shit out of my guys. I want to fucking get every Roomba rolling around in my orbiter. I want to get all the different Captura scenes and stuff like that. Like, there's just so much. There's so much to do, and I'm barely scraping the surface. So I've been having a good time. If for some reason you've watched this long and you're somebody who is even worried, or if you're watching this because you're trying to get opinions or something on if you should play this game, the answer is definitely yes. This is one of the greatest games ever made. You're not going to get many games like this in the future. You're not. I don't even know. It's like a masterpiece, and I want it to stay like this. I love this game. 60 days, 300 hours. I did not think I was going to get this far, but I am enjoying my time. I'm enjoying playing this game. Thank you guys. Seriously, thanks for watching the video. We'll do another check-in. We'll do a 90-day check-in. I think every 30 days or so we'll check in, and we'll see where we're at, at least for a few more months, and then, we'll move on to other things. But thank you again. That's all. I don't know how to do sign off, so I'm out of here.